I'm joined now by the director of the Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood. Mark, the economy's even worse than the last time I spoke to you, I think, isn't it?
Gets worse week by week, doesn't it, Patrick? I mean, more bad figures. What this means is that more and more people are more and more sceptical about lending Britain money. And you're right to point out that the cost of borrowing for the government spiked after Liz Truss's mini budget, in large part, I think, due to the actions of the Bank of England, but that's a debate for another day. But those borrowing costs spiking led Labour politicians like Rachel Reeves to say that Liz Truss had crashed the economy. And this was absolutely appalling. Well, if Liz Truss crashed the economy, these people have crashed the car into a wall, put it into reverse and driven it into another wall. This is going to make it extraordinarily difficult for Rachel Reeves to do anything sensible and coherent at the time of the autumn budget. You've just listed the various things she's promised not to do, and therefore the things she might. But if she tries to dial up tax even higher, she will make things worse. The political problem she's got is there is no way she can get spending down at all because the Labour backbenchers won't wear it. They tried to trim a bit off the welfare bill. They had a political rebellion on their hands. So we're locked into this doom loop. Borrowing's going to go up. Taxes will go higher. Tax rates will go higher. But they might not get any more money in because people will exit the workforce.
Can I ask you, for our viewers and listeners out there, so UK borrowing... UK government long-term borrowing costs have reached their highest levels since 1998. So in a practical sense, how does that affect my viewers and listeners?
The problem is this, that the UK government is very, very heavily in debt. So this would be a bit like a GB News viewer or listener having a kind of variable mortgage. Perhaps you owe the bank 150, 200,000, maybe more on your mortgage. And then the mortgage rate goes up. Well, when the gilt yield rate goes up, that's the same really for the government facing it on their variable mortgage. They're servicing a lot of debt. So imagine you're really heavily in debt and then the interest rate you have to pay goes up. And you were counting on it going down in order to be able to afford your day-to-day living expenses. That's basically the position that Rachel Reeves was in. She was hoping she could service her debt at maybe 3%, maybe 4%. Those long 30-year yields means that she's now servicing it at about touching 6%, 5.7%. And we're already spending. She's already spending more on servicing the debt than she's spending on the education budget. So if that goes up again, it's less money for education or health or welfare or policing or defence. That's the nightmare for her. Some people have called it the moron premium. The more moronic a government is, the higher that rate goes because people don't want to lend them money. But the way to think about it, if you were to relate it to an individual level, is imagine you're badly in debt and then the interest rate you're paying on that debt goes up and up and up because the bank doesn't trust you.
But when that happens, at some point, the bailiffs come, don't they? And they take your car and they take your house and they take your telly and all of that stuff, and you are declared bankrupt and you are out on your backside with no earthly possessions. Or you might even go to prison for it. So what could happen to the country if it keeps getting worse?
It's a great question. I think it was the great author Ernest Hemingway who said that businesses tend to go bankrupt very slowly and then very suddenly. And I think the same's true for a country's economy as well. You can get by with acting pretty idiotically as a country for quite a period of time. To give you an example, Patrick, no government has balanced the budget since 2001. So we've had 25 years of spending more than we've been bringing in. How long can you get away with that for? Maybe 30 years, maybe 35, maybe a tad longer. There's a lot of ruin in a nation, but eventually reality dawns. And the issue that you would then have is not so much that the bailiffs come into number 11 Downing Street, it's that the government wouldn't be able to meet its obligations. It couldn't meet payroll. It won't be able to pay police officers' salaries or nurses' salaries because the cost of borrowing has gone too high. That could happen, happened in the 1970s. We don't seem to have learnt from that. We then had to rely on the International Monetary Fund to bail us out. The problem this time round is our debt is so huge, not even the International Monetary Fund now has enough money to bail Britain out. So let's do the surgery ourselves.
OK, Mark, thank you very, very much. Always a pleasure.